Well, Bianca, thank you again for 5 years at Pointer Rental.
Yeah.
So, we have done like new hire interviews where we typically ask people like, hey, what did you do at Pointer Rental? I don't know if we did those back 5 years ago. So let me give you the opportunity to ask you, what did you do before coming here at Pointer Rental?
So before I got here, I worked at a striping retailer.
Okay.
So what we did is we sold, I was an admin assist, but we
Okay.
sold pavement marking materials to
Okay.
companies.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I liked it. I kind of felt like we drive on roads every day, but we
Mhm.
really don't think about what really goes into the regulations and how it all comes together. So I
Mhm.
kind of like that aspect of it.
Yeah, definitely. Though I have to admit, rental software and pavement is a bit divergent. So how did you hear about Pointer Rental?
So at the time, I was going back to school and
Mhm.
I wanted to pursue a degree in IT. So I
Okay.
thought finding a career in a related industry or in the industry would help me out in the future. So,
Definitely. So when you first started working here, what was your like typical job role?
so when I got here, I was software support,
Okay.
which if you're under the customer experience umbrella, product knowledge is very important.
hmm
So I think that definitely helped out. Yeah, that's what I did.
Gotcha. So I mean, I'm assuming after 5 years, you're probably doing something else. So what's your typical day to day?
Ooh, that's a good question. um, a little bit of everything.
hmm
So I'm in L&D, and what we do, our goals are really just to facilitate knowledge, making sure that product knowledge is where it needs to be and is accessible to everybody.
hmm
So my day to day is kind of just planning out what content we're creating for
hmm
like specific releases or product releases.
Gotcha. Well, that sounds like a lot of work, but a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. Yeah, it is definitely keeps me busy.
Gotcha. So, I mean, 5 years is a long time to be working at a company. So, I'm sure you have plenty. But like, what's your favorite thing about working at Point Rental? Like, what's the sort of like standout feature of it?
Well, I definitely like my team. I think, we do a lot of we do create a lot of content. So I think just putting yourself in some of those aspects and knowing people are going to consume that is pretty cool.
hmm
I think the culture in Point of Rental is pretty open.
Yeah.
People are easy to talk to. So, yep.
Yeah, I know a lot of pointers really talk about our work culture as being like one of the number one things about working here, and I tend to
Oh,
agree too.
yeah.
So I'm glad you feel that way. So going outside of work, what's like a hobby or an interest that you have that you feel like you could talk like hours and hours about?
Ooh, there are several.
Okay.
But I would say it would be between gardening and cooking.
Oh, gardening
So
cooking.
I love gardening for, um, I guess, like watching the plants grow and things,
hmm
but I especially love it when they give you the food that you like to eat.
Okay, so this isn't just like having like a sort of like greenhouse cabinet. You're also growing stuff like outside, like produce.
Yeah, yeah. So we grow some vegetables and some herbs, and I think there's nothing fresher than being able to cook with the things that you grow.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
That's, I think I'm going to have to agree with that. So let's pretend that there's a new pointer here at Point Rental, whether that be in like your department or otherwise. What would be like your number one advice that you would give to someone just starting here?
That's a good question. I would say don't hesitate to, I guess, give your opinions or ideas. I
Mm-hmm.
think that the company and your team should be working towards the same goal. And I think that if you give your input, it can have a positive impact.
All right, Bianca, final question right here on the finish line. Let's pretend you're at like an Oscars award show and you're
Okay, okay.
standing up there on the podium. There you go. And you can give thanks to all the people who got you where you're here today. So who do you think you can give thanks to?
Maybe wipe off my tears really quick.
Other
Um,
than your director and your agent and
right, exactly, exactly. Um, I would say thanks to Ed for pulling me into L&D. L&D were the new kids on the block.
Mhm.
So I'm grateful for that opportunity. Wayne and Darren kind of worked with me while I was part-time, so I really appreciate that. And
Mhm.
of course, my manager who hired me, but she's not here with us anymore
It's okay.
with the company. But yeah, thank you anyway.
I think that's fantastic. Well, anyway, Bianca, thank you again so much for 5 years.
Yeah, pleasure to be here.